America wasn't born rich. In 1776, it was a struggling collection of colonies, poor, fractured, and deeply in debt. It had no factories, no currency, and no infrastructure. Yet in just 2 centuries, it rose from a bankrupt nation to the world's economic superpower. This is the untold story of how America, built on debt, dreams, and determination, became the richest nation on earth. Chapter 1. The birth of a new economy. When America declared independence, its treasury was empty. The Revolutionary War had drained every resource. The Continental Congress printed paper money, continentals, to fund the war, but they quickly became worthless. Inflation exploded, soldiers weren't paid. Merchants stopped accepting American currency. The young nation faced economic collapse before it even began. Then came Alexander Hamilton, the visionary who would turn chaos into structure. As the first Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton believed debt could be power. He proposed that the new federal government assume all state debts. This would bind the 13 colonies together under one financial identity. To manage it, he created the first bank of the United States, America's first central bank. The idea was radical: build credit, attract investors, and transform trust into capital. America's wealth didn't begin with gold or land. It began with confidence. Chapter 2. The Industrial Revolution. By the early 1800s, America was still an agricultural nation. But a storm of innovation was brewing. The Industrial Revolution arrived, bringing steam engines, factories, and railroads. Iron and coal fueled the North. Cotton fueled the South. Immigrants arrived by the millions, chasing opportunity. And in this mix of ambition and industry, a new class of titans emerged: Carnegie, Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan. Steel, oil, and finance became the foundation of a new kind of empire. Railroads connected every corner of the continent. Cities exploded with growth. For the first time, America wasn't just surviving, it was producing. The world began to buy what America built. Chapter 3. The Power of Wall Street. As industry grew, money flowed, and Wall Street became its beating heart. What began as a small gathering of traders beneath a buttonwood tree evolved into the New York Stock Exchange. Railroads, factories, and mines all depended on investors. The market turned dreams into dollars, but it also turned greed into power. By the early 1900s, a handful of financiers controlled most of the nation's wealth. Economic crashes, like the Panic of 1907, showed how fragile this power could be. To prevent total collapse, the government created the Federal Reserve in 1913, a central bank designed to stabilize the economy. The United States now had something powerful: the ability to create and control its own money supply. With it, America could fuel its future on its own terms. Chapter 4. War, Production, and Prosperity. War destroys nations, but for America, war often built them. During World War I, while Europe was torn apart, America became its supplier. The US sent steel, ships, and weapons, and in return, received gold and influence. For the first time, America became a global creditor, not a debtor. Then came the Roaring Twenties, a decade of cars, jazz, and skyscrapers. But in 1929, it all came crashing down. The Great Depression wiped out fortunes and faith alike. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal rebuilt the economy with infrastructure, banking reform, and jobs. And when World War II erupted, America once again became the world's workshop. Its factories produced everything: tanks, planes, ships, supplies. By 1945, half the world's industrial output came from the United States. The war ended, and America stood alone as the economic powerhouse of the planet. Chapter 5. The dollar takes over the world. After World War II, the world needed rebuilding. and America had the wealth to do it. Through the Marshall Plan, billions of dollars flowed to Europe and Asia. But this aid did more than rebuild nations. It tied their economies to the US dollar. In 1944, global leaders gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. They decided that the US dollar, backed by gold, would become the world's reserve currency. Every nation would trade in dollars. Every central bank would hold them. The US could now print the world's money. It was the single most powerful financial decision in history. And in 1971, when President Nixon ended the gold standard, the dollar was no longer backed by metal, only by trust. Yet that trust endured, because by then, America wasn't just rich in gold. It was rich in innovation, influence, and belief.